Let's speak further then about the tension between the United States and Venezuela. Bring in Silva, a political analyst from Venezuela, joining us now to talk about this. Good to have you on the SABC News channel, sir. So President Maduro in Caracas, speaking over multiple addresses, in fact, has remained clear in the sense that he believes that some sort of invasion, war waged by the Trump administration is imminent. Is that the goal of the Trump administration? And if so, to what end? What would be the ultimate goal, the objective?
Well, the ultimate goal, of course, is to be even more competitive against China in the so-called trade war for the United States. We know that China's biggest advantage in said economic conflict is their access to not only natural but also rare minerals, and the United States has struggled to keep up with China. So, with a country like Venezuela that has the biggest oil reserves in the world and that also has a vast amount of these rare minerals for the United States, allied with the different led by Maracorina Machado, it is a very enticing project to imagine the prospects of managing somehow the all of the potential that the rare minerals market in Venezuela could have internationally, and they've slowly drifted from their original position that was battling narco traffickers in the Caribbean to now openly stating that oil is the main subject. We know that with Bush, it was hidden as a weapons of mass destruction incursion. With President Obama, the international conflicts were said to be about making people's lives better. But now with Donald Trump, they are straight up just saying that oil is a very important issue in this matter.
What's been abundantly clear, though, is that President Maduro will not take this lying down, even after Donald Trump warned him basically to not try to be brave or put up a fight. If he were to be removed from the political scene in Venezuela, what sort of leadership vacuum would that leave, and who would fill that vacuum?
Well, what I hope the United States understands in such a scenario is that removing the president of Venezuela would not be as straightforward as some people have stated, because some members of the US government think that this is a Libya or a Panama situation where removing the president would make the entire government crumble. In Venezuela, the government has a very vast and robust structure where several of the governing party people have enough power, enough resources, and enough influence to make themselves the new leader of the country. And this without a clear line of succession, which means that there would not only be the constitutional conflict that has been led by Edmundo Gonzalez and Maria Corina Machado to say that ousting the current president would mean that Edmundo Gonzalez is the new president of Venezuela, but there would also be a lot of internal Venezuelan government parties.
And Andres,
The interior.
how unexpected is this current situation when you consider that the last time Donald Trump was president of the United States, there was a White House endorsement, I think at the time of Juan Guaido, the opposition leader at the time, even recognition of him as the rightful leader of the country. So the US has long been anti a Maduro administration. So how unexpected is this moment?
I would say that the unexpectedness of the moment is the willingness of the Trump administration to start an unarmed conflict. We know that one of Donald Trump's main campaign issues was being anti intervention, anti foreign wars, and now he is leading headfirst into a war that he himself is starting, at least in regards of what the US's role in the Venezuelan conflict truly is. So right now we know that the United States has always been a part of the Venezuelan political situation. As you said before, they were big supporters of the Juan Guaido moment. They have always been very outspoken towards the need for democracy in Venezuela. But at this moment, the problem with US intervention in this matter is what we were mentioning before. The way Donald Trump has been open about the oil trade and how oil is a cause of concern with the Venezuelan crisis, what this is doing is strengthening the Venezuelan government's position regarding the international community, as they are fortifying all of those narratives that they've always tried to position against the US, that this has always been about oil.
Speak to me or speak to us about the level of domestic support that President Maduro then still enjoys in Venezuela currently, and what that would mean if there was any attempt to unseat his government.
Well, popular support for the current government is probably at an all-time low. We know that there have been many political crises that have affected this approval rating, but at the same time, because of the strengthening of sanctions and other important political notices, the Venezuelan government, the bubble they were creating, the economic bubble of progress and of positive economic indicators since the beginning of this year, has begun to slow down. So at this moment, the Venezuelan people are once again facing the consequences of inflation. They are once again facing the consequences of a low income for families, and with a naval blockade by the United States, and with the possibility of there being a blockade against the import of goods, of medicine, of food, and of other essential goods, then the Venezuelan people are slowly walking, perhaps not only towards a rejection of the government, but what they are doing is rejecting their current situation. They are worried about the futures of their family and what the people that support the government, or the apolitical, to give them a name, people in Venezuela, which is the vast majority of the country, because they are more worried about their personal situation than of the political situation of the country. They will probably slowly start to look at the armed forces in Venezuela and at the prospect of international intervention to maybe not just remove the government, but the most important thing, looking for a change. Perhaps it's either a change of government or a change of the way the government is doing things.
Andres Silva, good to talk to you, Venezuelan political analyst, joining us this evening from Milan in Italy about the current tensions between Caracas and Washington.